And I really appreciate it. So should we be worried about the housing recovery based on this report?
Joining us right now to talk about it, Sherry Olafson, a real estate attorney, founder of the Olafson Law Firm, author of Foreclosure Nation, and Fred Glick, who's CEO of U.S. Spaces and U.S. Loan Mortgage. Fred, I mean, you got the higher rates with the tapering. You got the weather. I mean, are you hopeful that things will improve as we move into the spring here? What do you think?
Let me just say the housing market as we knew it from like a year ago, that's over. We're in this new era where it's just nice and steady. There's going to be your crazy blips in the Los Angeles area, San Francisco, New York. But I think it all comes back to, I've said this a million times, the good jobs are just not there and growing. And so why would you buy a house? Plus the home builders have prices that they're trying to get more and more and more. And the existing home stock that's out there that's only a few years old is still good and cheaper. And you can renovate it a lot cheaper than the new home builders want to charge you for a new house. So
yeah. So Sherry,
I just see it nice and calm.
Let's talk about this drop last month, because you point out, look, we had bad weather in December, so why is it that all of a sudden people seem to realize this weather effect last month? I mean, so you think there's maybe something else going on here?
Absolutely. The weather might impact the buyer traffic component of this, but the market sales conditions is completely about the indicators and the numbers. I mean, builders know that for the last 2 months, the sales of new homes have been down. Last year, we saw about 430,000 homes sold, which was great. We were expecting to push the 500,000 mark this year, hoping to do that. But in December and November, the numbers were less than what they were last year, which is a big problem no matter what you're trying to sell. So, you know, when they're looking at building as many as 700,000, 1 million new homes, there's just not the sales to support it right now.
Are we wringing our hands over nothing more than the business cycle, or is something else afoot, Sherry? What do you think? Is there something that can be done to solve this?
Here's the real issue is we're expecting about 2 million new households to be formed this year. More than half of those are going to be renters. So a big problem that America's experiencing right now has to do with wages and income disparity and the lack of affordability in home ownership. The issues like difficulty getting a mortgage, for example, with the new Dodd-Frank rules and changes at the GSEs and rising rates, those are things that will come and go and wane with the tides. But things like affordability, things like jobs and wages and home ownership rates will not.
So, Freddie, you're notably skeptical as well on how many people are going to buy a new house when there are other options out there on the market. Fine, but we know that investors have been snapping up homes across the country, renting them out, to Sherry's point. At some point, don't higher rents make those homes, even those new homes, that much more attractive to people?
Well, I think the people who are renting, the rents are going to go up a little bit. They're just going to continue to rent because we're back to the mortgage problem. The whole QM nightmare that the CFPB has put us through with Dodd-Frank, the flood insurance nightmares that are going on where people who had $400 premiums now need to pay $30,000 a year. These little things are adding up. And Sherry said, oh, well, they'll go away. I hope they go away, Sherry. Because it could take years for this stuff to clean up. That's the problem.
Yeah, but the other thing I think you'll agree with, Fred, is most buyers are they're not comparing renting to buying a new home. They're comparing buying an existing home to buying a new home. And we're going to see a lot more existing homes on the market because millions of people are coming out from negative equity. They're no longer underwater, so they're now able to sell.
Sherry, but this is an interesting point. Let me just jump in here for a second. If we're talking about a group of people buying new homes that are probably have a higher income relative to renters or to people who are buying existing homes, perhaps a better demographic or something, aren't these the very people who are supposed to be doing better in this economy right now? So why is there then a disconnect between these new home purchases and how the other kinds of purchases in the retail or restaurant sector this group of people is supposedly making?
Yeah, but when you look at the average price of new homes in this country, we're not talking about that luxury high end. We're not talking about the 1%ers. We're actually talking about middle America, which is where the biggest percentage of growing disparity really is.
Let me finish with a very simple question, and it can be a simple answer. Would you buy a home right now? I know everything's local, a lot of variables, but is this still a good time to buy a home, Fred Glick?
You always have to compare that to where you're coming from.
Yeah, I understand that, but try and get
the answer is yes. Any time is a good time to buy a home.
I'll get shot if I don't answer yes.
Okay. Well, okay. So you're going to give me the PC answer. Is that what you're going to say, Fred?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. On
Yeah,
national television, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
was
there's a
afraid of
billion
that.
factors. We could be on for months about it, but yes and no. How's that?
But to your point, Bill, you have to buy it right. You make your money in real estate when you buy, so buying at the right price is important.
There you go.
If only we knew it.
I knew that was going to come out. But I thought I'd ask
It's like buy low, sell high, Bill. If only
Thanks,
investing
Bill.
were that easy.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
folks.